Hey guys! Uh, so I've made storytime videos before. This one's a little bit different though, and a lot of people might think this is a creepypasta or a feels pasta, but it isn't. This is a thing that actually happened to me, and then I'm also going to talk about some other stuff in this video, so let's get on to my story. So I was like maybe in ninth grade when I met this kid, and I'm not going to give out his real name. Let's make up a name really quick. Let's just call him Fred. So I met this guy named Fred, and me and him kind of would talk and stuff, like we had classes together, and he would always talk to me about how people always picked on him and were mean to him, and that he didn't have a lot of friends, and people were picking on me a lot at the time and were mean to me, so I kind of was friends with him, and we would hang out and we would talk about a lot of stuff like music and stuff and other things like that. But mostly it was him just venting to me about how people were mean to him and that he didn't like anybody. And the year kind of progressed, and I didn't talk to him as much because throughout the year my classes changed to other classes, so when I did see him, it wasn't for a long time, and when I did see him, he usually was like listening to music or something, so he wasn't very talkative at the time. Well, then sophomore year rolls around, and I have him in another one of my classes. I took auto shop class when I was younger, so yeah. So I had him in that class, and he just kind of sat near me, and I'll admit it, there was a lot of people in there that also picked on me, and it was kind of weird because I was the only girl, and a lot of people picked on him and me in that class, so we kind of just had each other in that class, which was cool, because at least I had someone who wasn't a total butthole. But yeah, so me and Fred again started talking about how people were bullying us. At this point, for me, really the only people who really ever picked on me were the people in this class, and there might have been one or two other people, but I didn't really pay attention to them. So things were kind of starting to get better for me, but the way he talked about it is, for him, it's like they weren't letting up. Like, he told me that some people one day threw garbage at him, and that they had done some other things like that, and they had put like tampons in his locker, just weird stuff, and I felt really bad, but I didn't know what to do, so I just kept talking to him about it. And then one day the conversation takes a really strange turn, and he starts talking about how he hated our school, he hated everybody at the school, and that I was the only person who was ever nice to him, and he hated everyone. And I just thought, he's really upset because stuff has been happening to him. Like, he's really, like, you're just upset, Fred. It's okay. Like, calm down. And then when I kind of told him, like, it was okay, like, you're just mad, whatever, he kind of got quiet on me. And so for the rest of the period, we did not talk to each other at all. We just kind of sat there, and he would kind of look over at me, and I would look at him, and then it was just kind of awkward and kind of weird. And then finally, before the bell rings, he finally says one last thing to me, and he says, "You are the only person here that is nice to me. Don't come to school tomorrow. Do not come to school tomorrow." And that kind of freaked me out a little bit, especially since in one of our classes we'd been talking about Columbine and how he'd been talking about how he hated everyone. And then he opened his backpack to put stuff away, and I saw the handle of something. I don't know what it was, but it almost kind of went up, and it went like this, kind of almost how like a gun handle would go. I didn't see if it was actually a gun or not, but it did scare me. So I got to my next period, and my next period I have a really awesome teacher, but I'm not going to put his name on blast either, so I'll just leave it at he was a really awesome teacher. And I was talking to him about what had happened and that it had scared me, and he basically told me that I needed to go to the office and tell them. And so I did, and I felt really bad for telling on this guy because clearly, well, at the time I felt bad for telling on him because clearly he was telling me that because he trusted me, and I felt bad for betraying his trust, but at the same time I was like, what the hell, like, why would you do that? But, so anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna stick the anti-bullying plug in here. Clearly that guy was a little bit mental, and a lot of people were kind of mental, And clearly bullying is not the only thing that's going to cause someone to go crazy like that and just kill a bunch of people, but it can definitely be a trigger. So definitely just be kind when you're dealing with others, because you never know what somebody else may be feeling or going through at the time. And with that, and now on to the next thing. So they're making a Basement Tapes movie, which is basically going to be a reenactment of, well, basically they use the transcripts of the Basement Tapes from Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, who did Columbine. And I'm kind of excited for this movie to come out, not only because I'm interested in true crime stuff, but I also feel like it would be a great way to get like an inside look into like the thought process of how something like this happens, and maybe it would help people be able to be more aware of signs that could maybe prevent this from happening again, hopefully, because since then, especially, there have been a ton of school shootings, and I feel like getting out of control, so maybe this will help people in a way. I will now close the video. If you're feeling like you're bullied or you just want to talk to someone or whatever, feel free to message me or leave comments. I'm going to link all my social media stuff down below. You can go follow me. And I try my best to comment back and reply back to messages that I can, and I follow back. So yeah, bye guys, see you later.